Welcome back to Hanratty'S Huddle with your host, Mr. Terry Hanratty. I'm Dave Teromeo. And Terry, a lot going on in the sporting world right now, buddy.
I'll tell you, turn the TV on right now and you can find any kind of athletics you want to.
Good point.
So you go from the Olympics, you go to baseball, you go to well, let's talk a little about the Olympics.
Okay, because there's a lot.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff in there that
for a minute.
You never see.
The one thing, you got a couple of these crazy sports.
Oh God, yeah, I know.
Now, I'm all for, now I'm finally in my comfort zone now for my track and field.
Yeah.
For the first time we had a lot of swimming, which were great events and great athletes, and we had a lot of gymnastics, great athletes. But I swim, but I never swam, and I never obviously gymnastics. But now I'm into the track and field, so I'm loving the Olympics right now.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on.
But the one I wanted to bring up is, why do we have 3-man basketball?
I don't know. I mean, you have a lot, like you said. There's a lot of weird stuff. Obviously, table tennis is kind of interesting. Although I was watching the other night.
I think table tennis is outrageously great to watch.
Yeah,
these kids are unbelievable.
But I'm just trying to think of all these. These sports. Obviously the archery and the shooting and the,
every country gets to bring in one new event. Paris brought in breakdancing.
Breakdancing! Yeah.
Luckily, we haven't seen any of that on TV yet. But in 2028. We're going to do flag football.
Okay. And that's ours?
In L.A., yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And they say that the pros are going to be allowed to play.
Oh, God.
Why in the world would they do that?
Well, listen. That's the world we live in now, I guess.
Just to lock up a medal?
Yeah, I don't know.
I go back to the old days when, the Olympics were the last bastion of amateurism.
Yeah, and it's not. They're not amateurs
it's
anymore.
very. I'm glad these kids are finally making money because before they had difficulty, making it from event to event for money.
Yeah, no.
So now they can finally make some money, but the Olympics they're wonderful to watch because you see that shot putter we have.
No,
I saw this guy is he throws he puts the shot almost out of the stadium. He's like 2 or 3 feet beyond anybody else. And it's the third year he's won it in a row for the gold.
Yeah.
But I think the real star so far for me in this Olympics is Gabby Thomas.
Gabby Thomas.
200 meters. Great athlete. She won the gold. But I think more importantly, she's a Harvard grad.
Yep.
Get a load of this. Neurobiology and global health degree.
Okay.
Then she got a master's degree from the University of Texas.
Wow.
In public health for studying sleep, and this girl is she's beautiful. Number one. Yep. Phenomenal athlete and brilliant. Well, that's a triple crown right there. She checked
all the boxes.
She checked all the boxes.
She got in every line when God was handing out the gifts, and that's good for her.
And it's you see a lot of people. When you watch her run, it's really poetry. Yeah. She is so smooth. Nothing in her body moves but her arms and legs. Yeah. And a lot of people you see them, they're really stretching and just like a couple of those sprinters. The heads are just bobbing all over the place trying to get that extra yard. But she just glides through like a gazelle. She's wonderful to watch.
Yeah, listen, and that's great. Good for her. Track and field, obviously, we excel in track and field in this country. Right now, though, the Chinese today have overtaken us with the gold medal count, which is, heavier weighted than the total medals, which we're way ahead on. So they now have 28, we have 27.
But as soon as the girls' basketball, the guys' basketball, some more track, and
But some of these sports, just to mention a few, you mentioned you got judo, archery, golf was good for Scotty Scheffler for winning that. Volleyball, which is very interesting, but you not only have volleyball, you have the beach volleyball, right? So you have iterations of all these sports.
People don't realize how difficult beach volleyball is.
Oh man, I can't.
When you got 2-on-2 covering a whole volleyball court in this sand is like quicksand.
Yes.
And it's really difficult to, unless you've never done it, man, you got to go to the beach and try to play some volleyball in sand, because it is very difficult. And I admire these kids for doing that. And that's very difficult to do.
They're all tremendous athletes, and it's actually been a good games, I think, to watch. And the one fun thing for me was, I was mentioning when you mentioned Gabby, was this Kristen Faulkner, who went to Harvard. Also, I think she was she rode crew, and she lives in New York and started biking in Central Park.
Yeah,
took up biking, and now she's got 2 gold medals. She had the one individual one where she just pulled away from everybody, just blew by.
That was an incredible feat.
Yeah, and then they won the team. Team indoor track thing yesterday, so indoor bike thing. So again, these are sports you watch every 4 years. That indoor bike, like the team thing. So your 3 people are competing with those 3, but you're not. They're just, it's a time thing because they're on the other end of the track. It's really interesting.
That's really what you got to admire for the dedication these kids have for their sport.
Yeah,
because they go for 4 years and no one sees them do anything. This girl, rode her bike in Central Park for four years to prepare herself for this, one day in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of respect for these kids. A
lot of respect, and you obviously have obviously we'll be winding down here over the weekend because it will be coming to a close here soon. But I mean, it's a fast 2 weeks. Or whatever it is, 11 days of Olympic Games, and so we'll have some culmination with these team sports here soon. Water polo, I just saw the women are losing now in a match.
You have to get better horses for sure.
That's right, yeah. I missed that the first time you said it, but thank you for
a little water polo humor.
All right, Terry's in rare form today, folks. So. Okay, let's put the Olympics back on the back burner for now. We have, like you said, this time of year, boy, you could pick and choose your sport. So we have, especially with the Olympics going, we have football in full swing, training camps.
Football, tonight we're opening up Thursday evening.
Yep.
And you better get there quick. Turn your TV on probably 5 minutes before the kickoff so you don't miss the starters.
If they even play at all.
Yeah, it's going to be, just that quick in and out, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we'll get some little mileage out of these guys. I mean, it's like I've said before. I think all these kids should get in there. You got Aaron Rodgers, turn 41.
Yep.
Maybe you keep him out and he doesn't play in the preseason, but you still have to get him some playing time behind fire.
Yeah.
But, the rest of the kids, I mean, these young quarterbacks, why they're sitting out, why these...
Makes no sense.
They should be in there taking reps against live contact and, hitting out there, and the receivers getting knocked off balance, and they have to recover from that, and they have to adjust their pass from that. Those are things you got to do live. And it's just, they just hold these people back, and it's crazy.
Yep. So tonight you'll get a kick out of this. You have Carolina at New England. That's the game on NFL Network, and then locally here in New York you can watch Detroit. Obviously, a very good team playing the New York Giants. It's funny. I heard you can get 4 tickets and a parking pass for this game for like $45. Because they force these teams. They force their season ticket holders to buy the preseason, and the people, a lot of people, as you know, especially around here, they're away for the first couple weeks of August before school starts, and a lot of people just aren't interested in going to preseason games, and so they list their whole tickets, their parking for minimum, just to get rid of them or give them to friends or whatever.
Well, that's what we said earlier. I mean, they're not seeing the frontliners.
Yeah,
you're seeing a lot of kids that are not going to be there.
Yep.
When the opening of the season, they're just trying out tonight. They're competing against other kids for a couple spots. There's not much turnover per team. Now, if you get another 5 guys each year that they're rotating in out of the draft, and there's not a lot of spots available, so a lot of competition, but you're not going to see the front line for a while.
You won't, no, especially this early in preseason. You have the Jets playing the Commanders on Saturday. Tomorrow night, you have 3 games, including your Steelers hosting the Houston Texans in Pittsburgh. And I'm hearing, like I know, I'm reading that Pittsburgh is interested in the Ayuk, Brandon Ayuk from.
I've heard the same. We've heard this for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like the San Francisco and the Steelers are the only teams interested in one getting rid of Ayuk and the other, putting him on the roster.
Yeah.
So those are the only teams you hear.
Yeah.
But they want a franchise for him, and it's Steelers don't have that kind of depth where they're going to give up frontline people for him. I mean, they got a good, Pickens is a good receiver, and he does everything the right way, and I don't think I would give him up for a veteran who's proven, who's got to come into a new team and a new quarterback, and it's a lot of variables.
That's right. And here's the other thing, too. When you trade for somebody who's coming off a career year like Ayuk is, by the way, U.S. women's water polo just lost in a shootout, which is too bad. You have to be careful, right? Because a career year, and then they want to be paid, right? They want to, and then you trade for somebody like that, and who knows? But if you're going to get the same player.
Well, Chuck Noll had the philosophy where he never traded for anybody else's players.
Yeah, interesting.
You want to make a trade with him? Let's talk draft choices, because he wants to get kids out of college and mold them the Steeler way and let them perform from there. He doesn't want to get a guy from no matter what caliber he is from another team, bring him in, bust him of his old team's habits, teach him the Steeler habits. That could take a while, and Chuck was pretty successful at doing that.
It's actually a brilliant strategy, because that way you cut out on the like you're saying, the bad habits, and getting somebody in there who's not in line with your philosophy.
Well, and with all the egos involved in the owners in the league here, you usually pay too much for somebody.
Yeah.
Because, the Steelers are not going to outbid Jerry Jones. Jerry's going to, they're going to keep upping the bid. So you usually pay too much.
Yeah. I have to ask you, because it's always an issue every training camp, whether it's teams in camp, and obviously you have the Heat and they're facing each other, but you have these teams that have they invite the team that they're playing, like for example the Giants and the Lions have practiced against each other for a couple of days, and then they're going to play tonight, and then there have been a couple brawls, and I guess that happens. And they were, by the way, they were both fined $200,000. The teams were both fined $200,000 each, because the NFL put out a missive saying, we're not going to put up with this. We don't want to see any fighting in the preseason. Well, I guess that didn't resonate.
I think that's hard to enforce.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess my question is, it's like being in a training camp and being, day after day in the heat, especially back when they did 2 days, it gets on you worse than maybe your teammates. I mean, we're all humans, so there's going to be somebody who might rub you the wrong way or gets on your nerves. So,
well, let's make it straight right away. Yep. I was never involved in any of those fights.
Okay, good. That's
I was on the sideline.
I wasn't going to ask you that.
When those big guys, gorillas, get together and start fighting, I just step aside and let them do their thing.
Well, that's kind of the reason why I asked.
It's 90 degrees, 90% humidity. These guys are fighting for a job. They're going back and forth, and one guy slips and the other guy gets the better of them, and going back and forth. Something's always going to happen. Every training camp for every team, there's always been one fight to break out.
Yeah.
And you got to realize, all they can do is break fingers.
Yeah. You can only hurt yourself.
You got a helmet on, you got shoulder pads on, you got thigh pads on, you got knee pads, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to really hurt anybody.
Well,
and as soon as it starts swinging, unless you take off a helmet,
which is what Metcalf did yesterday in Seattle,
in the past,
at a teammate, swung his helmet at a teammate. And that, to me, is unacceptable.
He should, if you take the helmet off, you should be the one to pay the $200,000 fine.
That fine's on you now.
You want to keep all gear on, because once they start pushing and shoving, then everybody jumps in and grabs it too. It's not like two opposing teams, like a pitcher, throws at somebody on the mound.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, both teams...
They meet at home plate, they grab each other for a second, and
In football, these are all teammates.
Yeah.
So you got two teammates who had something went wrong.
Yeah.
And they start to battle.
Right.
Well, you're not going to favor one or the other.
Right.
Because they're both your teammates. So they're in there to grab guys and separate them. So, those fights in training camps, when it's between his own team, is no big deal. But once you're put, I've never experienced, this is just new stuff where teams fly in actually and play somebody practice for a week.
Yeah.
So you can get a little animosity going that way. And I don't know why they do it, because, nobody has contact in training camp anymore. So why would you bring in people to have no contact with?
Right. Well,
I don't think there's tackling in these practices.
Yeah. I don't either. But I guess, like I said, people get on each other's nerves or just around each other too much. So, but in the case of the Lions and the Giants, there were 2 days and they had some fights. And here's the scary thing, and this guy should know better. I guess Daniel Jones jumped in because the guy had his center pinned down on the ground, and Daniel Jones jumped into that. Now, Daniel's got to be brighter than that. I'm sorry, you here you are injury prone. You're you can't do that, and so it's scary to me that he would even think of doing that. I guess he probably won points with his teammates for doing that, but.
Yeah, you went through definite points in the locker room for doing that.
Yeah.
But it's not a smart thing for a quarterback. I mean, anybody else can break a finger and it's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah.
Quarterback breaks his finger,
it's over.
It could be over for 4 or 6 weeks.
Especially the thumb, to grip the ball.
Yeah, then if you do the thumb, then you got maybe a half a season.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble. Good. All right. So we have we've got some Olympic stuff here. We've got some NFL stuff here. Anything else going on in your world? Anything you want to?
No, everything's quiet. I'm getting ready for the football season to start.
Okay.
And I think everybody's anxious for their team to get going.
Yep.
Notre Dame is opening up with Texas A&M in Texas, and it's going to be 400 degrees down there.
34. Oh God.
Luckily they're playing at night, so it'll probably only be 300 degrees.
Yeah, that'll be a Saturday night.
But we just lost our best offensive lineman in practice.
Yeah.
With a torn pectoral muscle.
Well, I just saw one of the Texas best players broke his foot in practice too. So these things happen.
And it's I think these linemen, they're so big, and he tore the pec, which is your chest muscle. And these kids do. These kids all bench press a house. They're in there pumping this iron, pumping this. And there's to mine, again, no medical background whatsoever.
Right.
But when you push that muscle, you can only push it to a certain degree. Then you give it another shot, then boom, you're gonna. It's like you blow up a balloon.
Yeah.
You get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. All of a sudden, you put a little pin in there, pop. So I think that's what happened to these guys. They lift so many weights and so much weight that that they're susceptible to these things.
Yeah, listen, it's you're right. I mean, you would think being stronger, but sometimes all these weightlifting things aren't as good for you as you might think they are. So, and just a shout out to our friend Rob Adams, who is obviously still involved in helping us edit these podcasts, and we'll see Rob next week to discuss where we're going to go next with the podcast and some other things that we're talking about. So.
Some exciting things. So I think we'll keep everybody abreast of what's going on, and I think we're going to go up and away.
I think so.
It's been fun. And it's going to be a lot more fun.
Yep, and here we are in the dog days of August, and we have pennant races and wild card races and all that stuff. So it's a fun time of year. My favorite time of year really is when the football season kicks off in September, October, when you have really kind of like the season getting going in football and the baseball season's getting to the playoffs. That's a great time of year for me anyway. So, and also you have hockey and hockey. It's crazy because it just seems like hockey just ended, and in about a month they're going to be reporting to camp.
The hockey and the basketball.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It really is.
It never stops.
It just seems like year round now. So, but listen, folks, enjoy the rest of the Olympics. Go USA. We hope everybody fares well, and it's been I like the sportsmanship aspect of it. I really do. I've seen a lot of good sportsmanship between athletes. Picking each other up. In terms of different countries.
No,
congratulating
it's really good.
each other.
We have to give France, I think, a big credit.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think they've done a great job.
They really have.
The opening ceremony was a little questionable.
Right. Well,
but as far as my daughter and wife just got back, they spent 5 days over there at the Olympics, and they went to a lot of events, and they said everything was smooth as can be.
Okay, good. Yeah,
it was easy to get to an event, easy to get back, and it was good. I think it's a tough thing to do. Can you imagine?
Yeah, well,
putting on the Olympic. I mean, that is
it's massive.
Thousands
Just the venues alone that they built. Like we were talking about these bike, indoor bike and the volleyball. I mean, all the gymnastics, the swimming, just the many venues, and then spreading it out and yeah, good for them. Security seems great, and it seems like it's gone off very smoothly. Let's hope it continues to. But I may have mentioned this last week. If I did, forgive me. But the cost of these games, the money that they put into it,
it's staggering.
$10 billion.
You believe $10 billion?
$10 billion, and they're actually estimating that the 2028 LA Olympics, their budget is $7 billion. So this is.
Well, LA has a lot of venues already.
A lot of
built.
Infrastructure already there, yeah, and also having had the Olympics previously, yes.
The Coliseum was the site of the Olympics way back when.
Huh?
So it's still there.
Two Olympics now,
it's still structured wise,
and then just up there. So you have they have the SoFi where the Rams play and the Chargers.
Yeah, and you've got a lot
that
of
stadium,
swimming venues.
You have where the Lakers play, and so you're right. There's already a lot built.
Yeah, it's going to cost them. Yeah. It's still going to be a hell of a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
but it's going to cost them a lot less than it would for Paris.
Yeah. The money's insane, but I'm sure it's doing a heck of a lot good for their economy there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's a great shot in the arm for every country.
Yeah, exactly. All right, my friend. That's it for Hanratty'S Huddle, and we will see you next time.